Alright, hello everybody. I've been posting quite a bit about my upcoming trip to record nature sounds in Alaska, and I've had a few people request that I do a video showing what I'm packing for this trip. So I'm going to start with the non-audio related gear so I can show kind of what I take with me on field recording trips and what I'm taking on this particular trip. What you need where you're going is probably going to be a little different, but some of this should apply wherever you go. Starting over here, I've got a kind of wool blend jacket and then a fleece lined jacket. So I'll need to make sure that I've got warm clothes. I've got wool socks, 2 pairs of Gore-Tex boots, and the reason to bring 2 pairs is because I'm very likely to be crossing some small streams while I'm there, and it will be good to have a dry pair to change into after that. Speaking of crossing streams, in order to make that more pleasant, I'm taking some Gore-Tex gaiters as well as water-resistant pants. I've got a pair of gloves here. Again, it could be cold. I've got some nice thick flannel shirts and breathable flannel shirts. That should help keep me warm. Pajamas. I've learned that it is worth taking them even while camping. The reason being it really helps you to keep warm and to be drier when you have something to change out of at the end of the day. I'm also taking sunglasses. I've got a nice insulated beanie, again to help keep me warm, as well as some thermal base layers. As far as other equipment goes, got a compass, just a cheap one, but it will point north. I've got a towel to help dry off with, a knife. Whenever I'm going out into the woods or somewhere where I could get lost, I always have a knife with me. In here is a foldable shovel. Comes out and I can unfold it. It's got a shovel, some saw blade just in case I need that. Shovel's useful for a number of things when you're out in the woods. Always good to have around. I'm using it even to drive in my tent stakes. Good insect repellent is important. There are going to be bugs out. First aid kit. I've got an extra emergency blanket, hand sanitizer, a survival kit that's got a number of things in it, including emergency fire starter, a large emergency blanket, rescue whistle, duct tape, a little tinder for starting a fire, and a wheel for starting a fire as well, safety pin. So this was not an expensive kit, but I picked it up on Amazon, and I have used the little flint fire starter things in one of these before. They do work. It just takes a while. I'm also taking a signaling mirror. Again, I don't want to get lost, but if I do, this will be helpful. Screwdriver. Mostly I'm going to use this for opening my bear-resistant food container. Having a screwdriver around is always helpful. I've got 2 of these Life Straw water filters. The way these work is they filter the water as you draw it through them. So if I run out of water, I'll be able to go to a river or a stream and get some water that way. That's not going to be my first choice of how to get water. I'm bringing plenty of water bottles with me. These are the 48-ounce size. I think this one's 32. So the reason I'm taking so many water bottles is I'm going to be away from potable water for up to 4 days at a time. So I want to make sure that I've got plenty of water that I can take with me before I have to use the life straws. I'm taking a couple flashlights that have this nice belt loop attachment to them, as well as extra batteries for them. Deodorant, don't want to stink more than I have to. I don't want to attract bears. Toilet paper, obviously you need that. I'm taking a couple of these backpack rain covers. So I've got one for the larger pack that'll hold everything in it. This one, even though it's in a bigger carrying bag, it's for the smaller pack with just the audio gear in it. I'm taking trekking poles. These will make it easier for the hiking, and especially if I have to cross a stream or I'm on somewhere where it's steep. These will help me keep my balance. Taking a good set of binoculars with me. One other piece of kind of emergency or survival or navigation equipment I'm taking with me. Taking this Garmin GPS watch. This will have a GPS and compass. I can charge it with the USB chargers that I'm bringing. And it links up to my phone and will run an app there over Bluetooth even when I don't have cell reception. And that way I'll be able to find out where I am and make sure that I stay on or close to the paths that I've mapped out. I'm taking a folding chair. I found that if I'm going to be recording for 10 minutes, half an hour or more, I need to be able to hold still, and it's hard to do that if I'm standing up or squatting or sitting down on the dirt. So hopefully this chair will help cut down on some of that noise, make it easier on me. I got a nice compact sleeping bag that's rated down to 14 Fahrenheit, which is minus 10 Celsius it looks like. I've had this in some fairly cold temperatures. It works well. I've got a fairly compact single-person tent and a sleeping pad that is supposed to self-inflate. When I tried it a couple weeks ago, I couldn't figure out how to get it to self-inflate. It was getting dark, so I just inflated it myself. Maybe that's what they meant. And then, last of the non-audio items, this is a bear canister or bear-resistant food container. Obviously, I'm going to be in bear country. I use this even at home. If I'm when I'm in Washington State, and there's a lot of bears here, so I use this anyways. Especially being up in Alaska and in Denali, this is actually required. And the point of this is you want to keep the smell away from the bears, and you want to keep the reward of food away from the bears so they don't associate people with food. While we're on the subject of bears, I do want to briefly mention that I am bringing some bear protection with me. I'm not going to show it here because I don't want anything to be inferred as advice or what you should do when you're going into bear country. That depends a lot on your skill set, your training, so I'm not going to make any recommendations as to what you should do. The way it works is you take it, see if I can do this while holding the camera, unscrew the top, and inside I've got my food. No, I'm not just taking snacks, these sit on the top. I'm going to be eating mostly the same food the whole time I'm out there, just because it makes it easier to pack. I'm going to be taking these Tillamook smoked sausage sticks for my dinner. I've got these fig bars for breakfast, and then further down there for lunch, I've got some fruit and nut mix that I put together. The idea is you want things that are dense, they're easy to pack, and high calorie. All of your food has to fit inside the bear-resistant food containers. And since I'm going to be there for 2 weeks and I only have the one container, and I'm hauling all this audio gear as well, taking a camp stove and food that I needed to prepare just didn't make any sense. So, jerky for me. That's all going to go in this bag. It does all fit. I've tested it. I've repacked it 3 or 4 times already, and it does work. You want to take any medicine that you need. In this case, this is Imodium, because having the runs out in the woods is no good. On to the audio stuff. Taking this Zoom H8 as my backup recorder. I always bring backups of just about everything. I've got in here a Roland RO7. There it is. As well as some Lohm Micro UC. These are very good sounding mics. They work well with this. And what I'm going to be doing with them primarily is if it rains, I'll attach them to this little pistol grip that's got some antennae that I made. They spread out the way I want them to. It's easy to carry, so I can space the microphones the way I want to. And the microphones, or the micro UC, are small enough that the rain doesn't hit them very often. I'm also going to be using the micro UC in the RO7 by putting the RO7 and an external battery in this dry bag, and then either gaff taping the micro UC to a tree or attaching them to a bush or something else to have them discreet and out of the way. And that way I can record at night or while I'm not there and just leave it running. Cables, I've got a set of stereo XLR cables and a backup. USB-C cable for charging the mix pre. And I've got several battery packs. This one has been my favorite so far. But I got a whole mess of them because I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks without power, so I need those. One thing I didn't cover, paracord. This has some useful and some, I guess, might be useful stuff in it. You can use it as rope to hold stuff or sling your food up in a tree or whatever you'd use rope for. It's also, if you look inside of it here, you probably can't see it with the camera, but if you cut this open, then you've got some fire starter material, is the most useful thing I've found in there. And there's some fishing line and some other stuff as well. All right, my main recorder is going to be the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3.2. In here is a solar power battery pack. This works pretty well. I haven't had any problems with it. In here are some really big battery packs that hold double what the Anchor does. Stereo bar, very simple one with a hot shoe or whatever you call this thing attached to it. This makes it easier to set up on my tripod. I've got for wind protection these Rycote BBG. They're set up to fit the Octava mics, which I'll show you in just a second. But they basically go over the capsule and keep the wind out. For strong wind, I've got the wind jammers to go on top of them. Inside there, I've got the Octava MK012 mics. There they are. This is essentially the preamplifier of it, and then you can attach one of several different capsules to each of them. I've got stereo match pair for cardioid, for Omni, and then I've also got the large diaphragm. These sound really nice for bird songs. Very smooth, natural, open sounding microphone. Taking a camera with me to take photos, along with the standard lens that came with it, a telephoto lens, and a wide angle lens. I'm taking a whole mess of SD cards and micro SD cards, as well as some USB sticks. The MixPre can record to one of the, or back up to a USB stick after it records to the SD card. And then in here, whole mess of cables for the watch, USB cables, iPhone cable, extra batteries for the camera. Over here I'm taking a, I think it's the Manfrotto Elements is what they call it. It's a tripod for setting the Octava microphones on. This one is their carbon fiber model. I wanted the lightest possible tripod I could find because I've got so much other stuff. This is already going to be a very heavy bag. For headphones, for monitoring, I've got these Sennheiser HD 380 Pros. I've had these for nearly 10 years, and they've been solid the whole time. And then that is about it. Just more battery packs and USB-C cables. And there you have it. So that's what I'm bringing with me to Denali. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about how it is that I prepare for a field recording trip, I should be doing a video about that after I get back, probably. I may be able to put one together tomorrow if it's just a quick one on my phone like this one is. So thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.